Hello, Brendan Fry, Editor-in-Chief at CG Magazine here, and I'm joined with Cole Watson.
Hello.
We are looking at the Gears of War 4 escalation mode. Here I am on a team of journalists that we were all playing at the Coalition offices in Vancouver. You can see that this is kind of a capture the flag mode, sort of, kind of.
When you first told me about this mode, I was thinking back to the old Annex mode, which is essentially like Call of Duty headquarters.
Yeah.
But seeing this, so everyone starts off with like the same equipment?
It's the exact same equipment, and you both are at different sides of the map. There are 3 points you need to capture. These points, interesting fact, halfway through the match, there's 12 rounds possible. At the 6th round point, it will alter where the capture points are. So it starts with A, B, C. It then goes D, E, F. And those are different points of the map. So halfway through the map, or halfway through the match, you have to change up your tactics and figure out where everything is.
Yeah.
So how this works, if you're looking around now, you see the blue team have a sniper rifle going on. They got this because they lost the first round. And once you lose the first round, the loser, or rather once you lose any round, the loser gets to place a different weapon.
So a power weapon?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And so how that is determined is the losing team, the man on the losing team with the most score at the end of that round gets to make the choice.
Okay.
So I got to play as the Swarm, which, if you're noticing, look almost identical to the Locusts.
Yeah, they're basically just like gladiators, essentially, instead of like army men with locusts.
Exactly. The weaponry is very similar. You're getting a few different things in this one. You get a different sniper rifle that is given by the COG faction, which is kind of it doesn't have a scope. So what you have to do is basically just line up the crosshair until it gets to a certain color, then fire.
Okay, so a charge shot. I like that.
Yeah. And then you have a kind of a 4-barrel shotgun. And you use that, you fire that by, you pull in the trigger, it fires the first round, you release the trigger, it fires the second round.
Okay, so if you didn't get your first Nasher shot in, then you get your second.
Exactly. So it is kind of like a more powerful Nasher. Once again, I'm going to actually pull up all the different weapons. But what do your views when you're seeing this footage here?
A thing I'm looking into as I see your footage is, like, are the map designs like symmetrical? Because what I'm seeing here is like a very competitive style mode. Like, you're starting with the same equipment at the round, and then when you go on to the next, the losing side gets kind of like a little handicap with the power weapon. So how is like the map design for this mode?
It's very symmetrical. You have both sides are kind of on different ends of the kind of rectangular map, and then it's kind of in a triangular pattern how the points are. So one on the high ground, for this map is one on the high ground and 2 on the low ground.
Yeah.
And one is kind of in the kind of farmhouse area, and the other one is just outside the other farmhouse. So you kind of, the point B is easier to capture and hold, but if you're holding it, it's hard to take the other points. So you have to kind of keep risk reward of which ones you want to take and which ones you want to kind of risk your life to kind of go for the next one. And
so one is essentially like your home base, the other is the opponent's base, and then B is the one that you fight over.
Exactly. That's kind of how it works out. But if you work in a team, like we worked really closely, one person would stay back and the other group would go forward, and then kind of make sure we all coordinated that way to make sure it worked.
Yeah.
And that made things interesting because it made sure that we were always coordinated, always working, pushing forward, and always remembering that we have to keep moving. And matches lasted pretty quickly, and you're kind of seeing how fast the gameplay is in this mode. It's very much built for kind of an esports scene where it's always moving, really interesting to watch, and always kind of pushing forward to do things.
Yeah, so I see that there's if you capture all 3, that's a win condition.
That is a win condition.
What's the point count for the other one?
It's kills, how much, if you capture a base, things like that. So if you're the one going around and capturing everything, you'll get a better point than if you just sit back and just do nothing.
Yeah.
So there is some penalty for doing nothing in bit. See?
Okay.
So there you go.
So around 430 a round, or at least that's this one that you've had.
Exactly. There also is an interesting aspect where you don't really want to die because it means you're out of the action. You're basically letting your team down. So there's a very high component to making sure you're always pushing forward.
Yeah.
But being safe with when you're pushing forward. You're not just going in willy-nilly.
Yeah, you gotta organize your tactics and like placing as they see in B right now. There were smokes, and now you're throwing in one as well.
Yeah, because if you don't put that effort in there, you're so easy to take down. Like you are squishy. You're really squishy in
you're
this
just
game.
a firing range.
And that's how Gears has always been. You
Yeah.
go down quickly, but it's all about the tactics and how you take out things. So see now, so they're kind of capturing this point right now. If you see on the upper left corner, you can see how
Yeah, you're taking advantage of them going into B by taking A right now.
A and C. If you see A and C
Yeah,
are
yeah,
ours
yeah.
now, and B, you can. It takes them a while to actually capture it, and then it involves us going in there to recapture it. Because they can leave. They can leave once they've captured it. They can just leave and go back, do their own thing. Which is, it makes it a little bit more of a strategy. So you can say, well, we've captured this one. We only need 30 seconds to capture the next one. Let's all go out there and all just take them out. And that was kind of a tactic that I think we used a few times where we kind of said, okay, we've gotten point C, we need A, and we need B. Let's go for it.
In a power situation where like you have A or B, A or C,
Yeah.
B, C, did you ever think of like, okay, let's just hold the 2 points, or like you always wanted the 3?
You always,
wanted to go for
if you didn't take the 3, you're in a weak point because you need to catch all 3 for the match to end. And they're constantly trying to take you out. So if you just sat there holding the points, you're just basically holding the game out. You're not really pushing anything forward, and it could mean that you're going to lose out because of that. And I believe, let's see here, I'm trying to think of what's going on in this map. I forget because I did this. This is a week ago. I did this. So you can kind of see I was constantly trying to figure out how to take all the points. Right now, we're in a kind of a bad situation where they have a solid point A lead, but we are not controlling any one of the points.
Yeah.
And if we leave any one of those sections it's without it being fully full, they can just come in and take it.
Oh, okay. I see.
So if you see, like, we walk out, lost it all.
Yeah.
So it really is a big back and forth in this game, which I think works really well for that kind of esports scene. Even then, it was just a kind of a fun way to kind of have the emergent gameplay where you're constantly trying to do things. You're constantly seeing how what their enemies are doing, and how you kind of respond to that. And it leads to some really intense gameplay moments.
There was a point I was going to make with Annex in particular. So, where would the points move on this map?
Okay.
Other than the ABC locations that we have currently.
Okay, what they'll do is we're gonna get to that really shortly, because I have kind of sections of both the first part of the match and the second part of the match, so you can actually see how they change. But basically, it inverts. Okay. So there'll be 2 points in the higher ground, 1 point in the lower ground. You really have to kind of change up how you're doing it. So if you learned the map, learned where everyone was, and kind of got comfortable with that, it then becomes different, and it then becomes a different way to play. And you can also see the score total up at the top, that is kind of your team how well it's killing. You now have F, which is now kind of close to where point B was. No, it's a little, okay, so you have E and F.
Yeah, so E's in the barn now.
Yeah.
And then, F and D are in the little huts.
Yeah.
On the top there.
Which does make things a little bit different. Also, if you're used to kind of doing that same run, going to point 1, then point 2, then point 3, this really kind of changes it up.
And you also change sides, I noticed.
You do, yeah. So now we're starting on the opposite side where they were starting, so it really does kind of set you through a loop where you were used to doing what was going on, and now you have to kind of rechange your tactics, kind of work with it. But really, the important thing here is how the new placements of weapons kind of sit into play.
Okay.
Every single time, there's a new weapon placement.
Yeah.
So you can see them going on. We're like, I think, we're still using the Lancers, but I think there are shotguns, there are like frag grenades, there are incendiary grenades going on.
You just won't revive him.
I kept getting the wrong key. Well, when we were doing the match, we were switching between PC and console, and that constant switch made me kind of forget the keys every single time I switched back.
So did they give any details in particular how it will work with like ranking systems or league play at all?
Not really. They are going to have a tournament that's going to go on. A lot of it has to do with your team along with your score. But they didn't go into detail of how tournaments would work or how if you're in like a league play, how you're going to actually progress through it. But
So they didn't say like this would be the signature mode that they would go to.
they did say this mode here is the one you're targeting. This is the one that's the professional player, the one that really wants that kind of constant emergent gameplay that you don't really see in other modes.
Yeah, instead of the silent TDM, now you're really thinking about team communication, information based.
Exactly. And also ammo. Ammo was such a big thing in this mode where you could run out of ammo so quickly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you notice, a few times I'd be, and here I just captured this person, but there's a few times that I would be using my lance or whatever, and I just couldn't get any more ammo, so I had to switch to a different weapon. I had to like take someone out down melee just to get their weapon to take on to the next one.
Yeah, or wait for a call out that, hey, this dropped or something.
Exactly. It really was. Ammo was a little bit scarce in this mode. There were boxes you could get. But it's a matter of if you get them, if you manage to catch them when you get it, and the opponent doesn't take them before you.
So during your time with the mode, did you feel like there were any like imbalances or anything that struck out that you're like, I don't know how this feels?
Honestly, it felt pretty balanced because you do have that losing team that does get that handicap, but then if you lose, you'll get a handicap, so it kind of come back and forth
I see. Yeah.
constantly. I mean, there is a bit of a handicap when the losing team first gets that new weapon because they are then sitting much more solidly than you are, so they know that going right here, there's a sniper rifle waiting for me. It's the closest one to my base.
Yeah.
I'm going to be able to take this. But if you lose, you're going to be able to do the same thing next time. So there still is that give and take. There still is that back and forth. And I think that ebb and flow is what makes Gears of War so interesting. And I think this mode plays on that. It plays on what people know Gears for, but forces people to be a more team-based player rather than just the kind of a lone wolf.
Yeah.
Because it's clear when we played team-based, we did really well. When we kind of lost that structure and just kind of went off and did our own thing, that's when we lost. That's when we lost that edge that we had over the other two players.
Yeah, I see.
And you can kind of see it as you watch the gameplay. When I'm just kind of wandering over somewhere, we're losing. When we're all kind of running in that formation, then going from one point to one point, as a kind of group, we took them out much faster than when we just kind of went off and did our own thing. And you can see that's what they're kind of doing. Some of these matches, they are kind of just doing their own thing. They're kind of just, hey, I'm going to go for that point, and you just guys do what you want to do. And as such, they are no match for our three-man team that's kind of waiting here for
that's
us.
just waiting in the barn.
And like this is about where the match ends. We kind of see our team kind of holding this point with three guys as our last few people go out to try to take that last point. And we are making sure we lock this thing down. And I think one of our players has a sniper rifle in the other area, and I'm not then it's the other one player went for the other point. And that's how we managed to take it on, because they all went for this point for some reason. They really should have been going for point F, but
Yeah, something that wasn't occupied.
But that's it. Hope you enjoy it. And if you like this, subscribe, and all that. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much.